Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to Craw Park. Let's jump right on in. So, as you know, this is day 4 of our earnings series, where every day I'm coming on, I'm giving you insight about companies that are providing earnings this week, and then I give my prediction on whether the stock is going to go up or go down. However, disclaimer: whenever somebody gives you advice about anything, especially the stock market, you should always do your own due diligence. You should never, ever blindly follow anyone's advice. All right, let's get back into it. So in the last video, we talked about companies that were giving earnings today. I gave my predictions on Moderna, CVS, Square, Roku, etc. So let's see how I did. So Moderna is in the medical field. They're developing a vaccine. I thought Moderna was going to have good earnings today. Let's see what happened. All right. Moderna lost money. Makes sense. They're trying to develop a vaccine. There's a lot of R&D costs associated with that. Not a big deal. However, the reason Moderna lost money today as far as their stock price isn't because they lost money in their earnings. That's to be expected. They lost money because their two competitors just coincidentally had great headlines today. Now, we all know that was no coincidence. They did this on purpose. All right. So first company, Johnson & Johnson. Now, Johnson & Johnson is a heavy hitter in the industry. And as you see from this headline, they got a deal worth $1 billion to deliver 100 million doses of the vaccine. Now, as you can imagine, that is a serious blow to Moderna. Next, I'm assuming this is Novavax or Novavax. Their stock price went up today because they claimed that they had some good success with their trial of their vaccine. So as you can imagine, these two companies with their headlines really makes Moderna look bad on their earnings day. And I'll say this again, there is no coincidence that Johnson & Johnson and Novavax came out with these headlines today. They could have picked any day of the week, but they wanted to announce it today because I bet you they wanted to hurt Moderna's earnings. So, it is what it is. All right, moving on. Next, we talked about CVS. So I thought CVS was going to have really good earnings today. Let's see how I did. Okay, correct. So CVS actually had net income of around $3 billion. So they definitely beat the estimate. And, as you can see from the stock price, we got a nice pop up. Now, it immediately came back down, but it definitely closed above where it ended the day yesterday. So, it makes sense, right? We're all trying to get, new drugs. CVS is actually starting to deliver drugs to people, kind of like a Uber. So, definitely makes sense that they would have a pop. Plus, we're all trying to get prescriptions filled and trying to be more safe and healthy. So, definitely makes sense. So, what's correct there? All right. So far, 1-1. All right. If it wasn't for those two companies trying to bully Moderna, I'd have been 2 for 0 right now. But it is what it is. Or 2 for 2. I don't know why I said 2 for 0. Anyway. All right. Next company I thought about that I predicted yesterday was Fiverr. All right. So as you know, Fiverr is in an industry where it's for entrepreneurs. You're getting small things done. Designers, graphic designers, website builders. Basically any industry. If you want something done for you, you can probably find it on Fiverr. All right. So I would imagine people are using their skills to increase their income because of the loss of income, maybe from COVID. So I think Fiverr is going to have a definitely increase in income and earnings. Let's see what happened. Boom. So Fiverr revenue was up 82% to $47.1 million. Makes sense. People are doing all kinds of new creative things. They're trying to get paid. They're trying to basically erase the deficit that COVID did for the income, makes perfect sense. All right, and this is actually the first time Fiverr even offered earnings that were positive. Right, they've taken a loss their entire history. So this is the first time, first quarter, they actually have made a profit. So, congratulations, Fiverr. All right, moving on to the next company we talked about yesterday, Square. So, as you know, Square is a payment system. We have many more entrepreneurs, and so and actually, some of these industries are actually connected, right? So, if I'm an entrepreneur and I'm doing new services and I'm trying to grow my business, I'm probably going to have some kind of app or something that's going to take my payments for me, right? Whether it's PayPal, Square, what have you. So because there are more entrepreneurs, there's more work being done on the Fiverr side, I'm going to assume, number one, that trickles over to Square as well. But also, did you know Square actually owns Cash App? Had no idea. So with that, I know Square had great earnings. Let's see what happened. Yep, correct. All right, so Square's revenue was actually up 64%, right? And so, I mean, they actually derive most of their income from, which I didn't even know at the time, Bitcoin and like their trading platform. But, I mean, honestly, I've even been using Square more often than Cash App. So, I'm really, really glad that, I was correct there. And I hope, you know, someone is taking this advice and saying, hey, you know what? I can actually make some money off of this. Because it doesn't really take too much to be right, especially of stuff like this, right? So these are guaranteed wins, right? You know, entrepreneurs are increasing. Even on my Facebook timeline, so many of my friends have created businesses in the past few months. It's crazy. And you need a way to get paid. Square offers you that solution. So, all right, moving on. We're actually doing pretty good today. So I've been right on CVS, Square, and Fiverr. Let's see if I can get correct on Roku. All right, so Roku, they have those devices, streaming, so on and so forth. I thought they were going to have really good earnings. Let's see what happened. Ooh. All right. What's wrong there? So Roku actually lost $43.1 million. Was not expecting that. However, analysts thought they were going to lose a lot more. So that's good. And their streams are actually up, right, from 9.4 billion to 14.6 billion. So, however, the fact that they gave a kind of a shaky guidance or a forecast for the rest of the year, that also contributed to their loss this quarter. So, all right. Last but not least, Etsy. Now, there's a theme here. Fiverr, Square, and Etsy all operate in the entrepreneurial industry, right? So Fiverr, you can offer your services. Square, you can take payments. And then Etsy is the same thing, right? You can offer your services. Now, Etsy is more of the handcraft industry, but still entrepreneurship. And so I know Etsy has seen a great boom in sales. Let's see if I was correct. Correct. All right, so Etsy goes crazy as expected. No surprise there, you know. And I'm actually noticing a trend, right? So as you can see, when the earnings were released after the market closed, we have this nice pop, and then we have this dramatic decrease, sell back down. What I'm noticing is that these prices are falling not because the earnings were bad. As you can see, they had great earnings. It's because a lot of that stuff has already been priced in, right? So these are consumers, these are investors taking profit, right? And if you zoom out, you actually can see that a lot better. So when we look at an Etsy, so this is a chart given a day. So every candlestick here is a day. So as you can see, so when we look at today, we say, oh, the stock price went up, but it came back down. But what you're not taking into account is that for the past month, it's been rising, right? So let's look back at, let's not even the past month, say a few weeks, right? So from July 20th, stock was trading at around $105, $104. Now it's trading hit a high today of 136. Okay, so that's basically 33 points increase in a span of a week. So when the stock price comes back down very quickly, but still closes above or around where it closed the previous day, that makes perfect sense, because the gain that we saw from the earnings is already priced in. And so the stock is actually trying to level back off because it's already been priced in. So there's no real reason to go back up when you already have the increase. So, all right, so pretty good. So Moderna, I was wrong, but I was right on CVS, Fiverr, Square, Roku, and Etsy. So not bad, only one. Okay, so now let's get to tomorrow. All right. And actually, we'll get to. Oh, okay. I thought I was going to be able to pull up my chart that I always used to pull up, but it's okay. All right, so let's zoom in on tomorrow, Thursday. It won't let me zoom in. Okay. That's okay. All right, so we want to focus right here on the Thursday box. So just a quick recap. The companies on the left are providing earnings before the market opens, so here. And the companies on the right here are providing earnings after the market closes. So as you know, I've been preaching this all week. Companies do not provide earnings in the middle of the trading day or during the trading day because they don't want volatility or really violent swings of volatility in the actual trading day. And so they give you time either before the market opens to evaluate the earnings or after the market closes to evaluate the earnings. Okay? So for tomorrow, Thursday, the companies that stands out to me are Wix.com. That's obvious. Kronos, which I believe, well, I'm actually not sure about Kronos. Maybe another company I'm thinking about. Norwegian Cruise Lines, Papa John's, T-Mobile, Uber, Dropbox. Okay, so out of those that actually I know what they do, let's look at something that I can actually predict. The easiest one is probably Uber. Okay, so on a grand scale, right, and this is just, this is why it's so important to invest in companies that you know about, because you can actually speak to them and articulate what their business is about and kind of predict what's going to happen. So Uber, we all know what Uber does. They're basically a taxi service. But with COVID-19, who's really been driving around lately? Not many people. So when most of your revenue model consists of driving people around, but people aren't driving or don't have a need to go anywhere, you're probably going to lose a significant amount of money that quarter. So I would assume Uber lost a lot of money last quarter, right? Because their business model depends on people needing to go places, and that's not what's happening right now. So I know they do have like Uber Eats, stuff like that, but yeah, that's probably going to be a sale tomorrow. All right. Norwegian Cruise Lines. Now, no one's going on cruises, or if they are, they're not going at the rate that they were last year. So they will definitely sustain a huge loss. But as far as their stock price has been falling for a while. So will it continue to fall? Not sure, right? Because the falling stock price could already account for the loss in sales already. It could already be priced in. So, but they're definitely going to have negative earnings tomorrow. Wix.com, I think they're going to have good earnings. So, as you know, Wix.com makes websites. They're in the same industry as Squarespace. So with Fiverr, Square, Etsy, right, we saw entrepreneurship taking leaps and bounds. Wix is actually kind of in that area, right? Entrepreneurs, they probably need a nice website. I would imagine Wix.com is probably going to get some increased revenue from that. So they're probably going to have good earnings tomorrow. All right, T-Mobile. I know they just bought Sprint, which, I'm not going to say anything about their service, but that's something that I really can't predict. Does T-Mobile benefit from absorbing Sprint? I'm sure if they didn't, they wouldn't have done the deal. But as far as it and their stock price, it's a toss-up. Okay, so for tomorrow, I think Wix is going to be a buy. Norwegian Cruise Line is going to be a sell because they're going to have dismal earnings tomorrow. Uber is going to have dismal earnings as well. That's going to be a sell. And that's it. Papa John's, they probably do have an increase tomorrow, but I'm going to just stick with Wix, Uber, and Norwegian for my predictions tomorrow. All right. That's going to do it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, subscribe, like the video, leave me a comment, let me know what you thought. I'll see you in the next video.